Joining us now, Juanita Tolliver, an MSNBC political analyst, also the author of the forthcoming book, A More Perfect Party. Also with us is former Republican Congressman Carlos Curbelo from Florida. He is also an MSNBC political analyst. So, Juanita, this is the first real confrontational interview the vice president has had since she launched her presidential campaign. What do you see as the cost and the benefit of this interview?
I feel like the primary benefit is twofold. One, making Trump look weak, and two, expanding her coalition, which we know she has been welcoming Republicans and independents into. So by going on this platform, a platform that was contentious, she was able to show her toughness. She was able to hold her own and declare a series of positions that this audience probably hasn't heard before. I do think that there is concern that some would say, oh, this is not how she should be using the last few weeks of this campaign. She should be shoring up her base. I think it goes back to the point, though, she needs a broad coalition of support and able to have electoral success and get to 270. And so by doing this interview, she showed up and she did well. She was able to hit Donald Trump in key areas, especially on substance and the democracy. I appreciate the clip you played in your opening, Jose, because it showed how Harris wouldn't allow the interviewer to interrupt her or cut her off, but she emphasized Trump's own words on a platform that tends to only tell a part of the story. And so by doing that, she's able to make it very clear about the differences between her candidacy and how she would lead as president compared to Donald Trump, and that was critical for this audience.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos, last night's interview with Fox News, began with immigration. The vice president was asked about the 3 young women that were killed, allegedly, by recently arrived migrants. Here's a part of that question and answer.
This is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur.
Carlos, there's that border bill back into everything that I guess the presidential people talk about from now until 19 days. But how was she able to, or does she need to navigate the balance of the human cost versus the politics of this?
It's very tough, Jose, because I think the vice president has a good answer for the last 6 months, right, when Senate Republicans and Democrats did come together with a compromise bill.
And Trump killed it.
Correct. And certainly there are some points for Democrats to score there. Now, the 3 years before that, and you heard Bret Baier going back to the 3 years before that, that's very difficult for Vice President Harris and Democrats to explain. So, look, I give her credit for sitting down in such a tough environment. This was by far the toughest interview that she has had, maybe in her career. For people who watch the interview, I think they probably have some mixed feelings about it. But I think the headline is valuable. The fact that Kamala Harris was willing to go and sit down with Fox News. Most people that hear about it didn't watch the interview, and I think they will be impressed by that. But no doubt it was a tough interview, and of course they led with immigration, which is the toughest issue for Democrats when you look at the polling.
And the other one that was kind of, contentious was when the vice president was asked about President Biden's mental faculties. Watch this.
No,
Madam Vice President, you call Donald Trump.
You
call Donald Trump. He's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room, and he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
but
is.
You talked.
You know, Carlos, that whole issue of Joe Biden, who the vice president underlined, is not on the ballot. Today, Republicans have been repeating this issue over and over again during this process, the election process, even after the president, stepped back. Did she clarify it?
Jose, again, this, like immigration, is a very tough issue because we do remember a few months back when Democrats were all on message saying that Joe Biden was at the top of his game, that he was as clear as ever. And then there was that debate. And I think most Americans who watched that debate concluded that Joe Biden had slowed down a bit, to put it kindly, right? But that's something that's very difficult for Vice President Harris to get into. So she had to kind of avoid that question and focus on Donald Trump. And look, that's fair because she is running against Donald Trump. But all of us who have, been in the political arena know that we have to, we'll be held accountable for everything we said. And for a long time, Democrats did say that Joe Biden was in perfect condition. And I think a lot of Americans concluded that wasn't true after watching that first debate of this cycle.